Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the voice of Dr. Uniben. Okay. Yeah, PhD in electrical electronics technology. And in this video, I'm going to be discussing your OMR form. Yeah, the long-awaited video. I have announced this in class several times. And those of you that are privileged to be watching this video right now, you're blessed. In fact, what I will advise you to do right now is to share this video. You can do that before watching or can watch after watching, you share, okay? Subscribe to our channel. Sorry, I think this is falling out of equilibrium. All right, that's fine. I think everything is in order now. All right, so subscribe to our channel if you have not done so, because a lot of other interesting videos are going to be dropping in this channel, which you may just not want to miss. So very quickly, let's go into what we have. So this is the exact copy of your Uniben OMR form, and this is how it is. Now, what actually marks this form is an OMR machine. OMR meaning optical mark recognition machine. Okay, it's a machine that looks like a laminated machine. All you need to do is just pass your OMR form across it, and then it comes out through the other end and it scores you immediately. Okay, so and in this exam, you're always advised to make use of your HB pencil. You will see it written here, use HB pencil only. Okay, so try and watch this video to the end, because there are a lot of things I'm going to reveal to you here that will be very, very important for your exam. Very, very important. All right, so first, this is the University OMR form. It is divided into 9 different sections. The very first section is your matriculation number section. The second section is the venue. The third section is the date you're writing the exam. The fourth section is the option, that is the type. Is it type A, type B, type C, type E of your paper? The next option is the fifth type. And the fifth option, is the course code, where you will enter your course code. Then after the fifth part, you have the sixth part, which is your departmental code. You see them at the top right hand here. And then after the sixth part, you now have your name, your surname, your middle name, and all that, which is the seventh section. Then the number 8 section is your faculty course code. Okay, and then the last section is the almighty exam portion. This is where you spend majority of the time in your exam to get things settled. So these are the 9 different sections of this OMR form that the university will give you as soon as you start your exams. Now, like I said before, the university have noticed that a lot of students have actually missed their script. In fact, the level of missing script is highly on an increase, and it is becoming very alarming. Okay, so the university thought it wise to design a system whereby they can actually educate children or students on how to make use of the OMR form successfully without losing their script. And the gospel truth is that with the work that the university has done, a lot of students have actually shown nonchalance towards even listening to the management, and so they decided not to continue with this practice. But if you check, this column is longer. The longer sections are always the ones that contain alphabets. Okay, so because the first alphabet is EEE, you come over here, trace EEE. But you first of all write it here, EEE, then you shade EEE, and then your number 240, and then 1128. You just shade it that way and make sure you don't make mistake. That is the first section. The second part of it is your venue. Which venue are you writing the exam? Are you writing it in 1K LT, which is engineering, or life sciences, physical sciences, agric, pharmacy, education? Is it in basic medical science? Just put it here. All right, and then here is the date of the exam. Maybe you're writing mathematics, for example. Maths 101 exam is on the 19th of May. You put it here, 19th of May 2025, right? And then here is for your type. This is the portion that you are not going to shade during the exam or during the first time the OMR form will be given to you, because you'll be expected to enter everything except this, because the question paper will only come to you at the end. So you are not expected to shade this yet once the OMR form is given to you, unless they are giving you OMR form and question paper at the same time. Okay, so this option comes in later when you have done filling everything, and this is where a lot of students make mistake. They forget to shade this part. After shading everything, they will answer the whole question and they will ignore this part, and automatically when you ignore option 4, your script is gone. So there are 2 vital options you should not play with. Number 1, option 1, matriculation number part, and then option 4, your type. Is it type A, type B, type C, type E, type D? You must shade it here. Failure to do that is gone. Now, mind you, it is written here, shade the right option when applicable. The language is when applicable. In my time, they had situations whereby you are being given question papers and these question papers have no type. And you'll be wondering, does it mean that the question paper does not have type? That means we can actually malpractice the exam. You understand that kind of thing? So, but you are not opportune to do that kind of exam malpractice because those questions that appears without type are actually typed in disguise. And it is only available to the invigilators to know how to separate them. And you will be surprised that questions that had no type, invigilators at the end of the exam are separating these questions type by type. So if you malpractice your way all through, just know that you are going to fail at the end of the day. So this is the leading issue as far as missing script is concerned, and you have to be very careful with this. As for this is for official use, okay? As far as C and A are concerned, I won't disclose what it means on camera, but it is purely confidential and it is for official use, right? Okay, so next is the fifth option. The fifth option there is for the course code. The long set is for the alphabet, while these ones are for number. Of course, the course code of what? Is it a course code you belong to or the course you are writing? This is actually the course you are writing, not the course of your department. Some of you may be in electrical electronics engineering or maybe in physics or maybe in BMS. You come and put your own course. The course you are writing, is it physics, is it chemistry, is it mathematics, is it GST, is it AEB, is it zoology, is it bio, is it botany? You come over here. If it is bio, B-I-O, you trace the letters and circle. Your shading pattern is circular, okay? Because it is circled. So you shade circularly in each of the letters that apply. Then 101, you come here 101 and you shade circularly. All right, so that settles the aspect of the course code of the course you are writing. Then the next is the sixth option, and the sixth option is what you have at the left hand side here, and this one is the departmental code. Now this is your own department. Are you in BMS? Are you in physics? Are you in chemistry? Are you in microbiology? Are you in pharmacy? Are you in agri? What department do you belong to? Is it animal science? Is it forestry? Is it electrical electronics? You know, just come over here, get your course code. Maybe you are in agri, that's AGR. If you're in life sciences, agri is actually a faculty, not a department. If you're in animal science, that's ANS. If you're in microbiology, MCB, you know, stuff like that. Just trace it here and fill. And then next to this is the seventh option, and this is where your name comes in. Now, mind you, this section that has to do with your name is also very important. Look at the instruction written here. It is written name, surname first, comma, space, then other names. Leave spaces between names. Very important. Failure to leave space between names, the computer will address it as one long, miserable name. Let me use that word. Okay, so if your name, for example, is Juliben, just type Juliben and trace the letters. As soon as you're done, you leave one box unshaded or unwritten. Then enter the next. Maybe your other name is Julius, you put Julius, space, and then maybe your other name is Ibonwosa, you put Ibonwosa. But mind you, for those of us that have very long names that cannot be accommodated among these boxes, you may end up thinking of how to abbreviate your name, my dear. Yeah, we have very, very long names. Names like Osaigbovo, Ibonwosa, you know, those long names. You have to learn how to abbreviate it. Maybe you can change it to Osaz or something. So this is how you fill this part. Always ensure that you give space. And mind you, any name you are using here is the name you should use in all your OMR. In fact, the name standard you are using here should be the same standard you use till you graduate. So if you make mistake and only follow it here, you will have issues before you graduate. So you have to be very careful with that. And then that takes us to the eighth option. And the eighth option here is the faculty code. Which faculty do you belong to? Engineering, medicine, basic medical studies, life sciences, physical sciences, agriculture, pharmacy. Just take your course code and then shade it here. Remember, you are shading circularly. These ones are pretty simple. Now, the ogabadabada of them all, the meat of them all is the exam part. And this part, they say shade the letter you consider is the answer to each question. and they have a total of 1 to 100 questions, okay? From 1 to 100 questions. No examiner in 100 level is expected to give you more than 100 questions to write an exam. Although chemistry did something crazy some years back. Chemistry dropped 101 questions 2 years ago, and the students were confused. Where do I shade the 101 question? Chemistry is one department you shouldn't mess up with, my dear. It is the toughest of them all as far as your 100 level exams are concerned, and you must be very careful with that department. And the truth about it is that in exam you answer 100 questions to pass. For you to make an A, you must get 70 over 100 correct answers. You know what it means to get 70 correct answers out of 100 questions asked by the department? It's not child's play. Okay, so you must be really prepared to make things work for yourself. Now, this section, how do you manage this section? This section also comes with a lot of issues. Some students make a lot of mistakes in this section, and these mistakes at times may just land you in a level of failure that you least expected. I give you a typical example. You are given a question paper to answer, and you have started answering this question paper. You answer question 1, you shade, question 2, you shade, question 3, you shade. On getting to question 4, it becomes too difficult. You try, you can't get it. Then all of a sudden you skip question 4, go to question 5. You struggle, and then, oh, finally you got the answer. Now, coming back to your option type, instead of shading question 5, maybe the answer is A. Instead of shading A for question 5 that tallies with the question number you have actually answered, students over the years will take question 5 question answer and give to question 4. And then when they solve question 6, they come and shade it in question 5. When they solve question 7, they come and shade it in question 6. When they solve question 8, they come and shade it in question 7. And they continue with that mistake till almost at the end. And if God has mercy on you, or God does not have mercy on you, you forget that you have made that mistake. At a point, you meet another question that is very challenging, and then you now remember that, oh, I have to shade the right option. You now come and shade the right option, not knowing that what you have shaded above are all off key. And that alone is ready to set you on a lane of failure. And you have to be very, very careful with that. So on this note, I am going to give you a total of 10 tips you're supposed to know before you get into your exam. And the very first tip you're supposed to know as far as Uniben exams is concerned is to avoid coming late. Never come late to a Uniben exam, bro. Never come late. If you come late, you're going to be in trouble. 30 minutes late to any Uniben exam, you are not permitted to write that exam. And of course, if you come later than 30 minutes, forget it. If you come earlier than 30 minutes, you can enter the exam hall to write. But mind you, because you are late, you will not be settled. A lot of molecules will be running left, right, and center in your body, and you won't be able to meet up with the expected challenge. So number 1 tip, don't come late. Number 2 tip, while answering questions, always make sure that you answer the easiest questions first. You must not start from question 1 and get it right. No. I will always advise, because we are science students, our questions are usually mixed with theoretical questions and calculation questions. Leave calculation questions first and focus on theoretical questions that just, require you to read and answer immediately. For example, a question will just come. Which of the following does not have a neutron? A, hydrogen. B, nitrogen. C, carbon. D, fluorine. E, none of the above. These are the type of questions you should just attack first, because your mind will definitely tell you that hydrogen has no neutron, and then you click, and then you walk away, you shade. Once you are able to do that for all questions that are theoretical, then come back to calculation questions. You will gather enough momentum to be able to, forge your exams and then deal with questions that may come with their potential troubles. Calculation questions has shown majority at times when they say start, the fear of starting exam brings in mistakes which if you are not careful, you will end up shading none of the aboves. Okay, and that takes us to the third tip there, which is nota. Nota means none of the above. In this University of Benin, none of the above should be the last option you should ever shade in exam. None of the above should be the last option you should ever shade inside the exam hall. And the reason for this is because if you make the mistake of shading none of the above, you may not come back to that question. And for you to make that mistake means that you cannot even rectify that problem. So always allow questions that do not have answers, so that when you are done with the question, you can keep resolving them over and over again until you are at the verge of submission. Then you can comfortably shade those options as E, and submit. Because none of the above is very tricky. It's very, very tricky. Another option you should be very careful of is option A. Option A is a very dangerous option in Uniben. Before you shade option A as an answer, think twice. You get why? Think twice. Option A is always very close to the slightest mistake you will do. I'm talking from experience. This is 20 years of experience, right? All right. So we are done with NOTA. That takes us to the fourth tip, which is always confirm your questions before you shade on your OMR form. Confirm your question number before shading them on your OMR form. This is sacrosanct. Don't joke with it. You are answering question 4. Go and check your OMR form. Where is question 4? Shade question 4. If you are answering question 5, make sure you confirm that the number you're shading is question 5. Don't be doing blind shading, that once you are done, you shade, you're done, you shade. Confirm with the question numbers, make them tally. Very, very important. And then the next tip there is elimination method. Very, very important. Anytime you're answering objective questions, learn how to eliminate, especially when you are confused. Out of the 4 or 5 options given to you, there are 2 options that are totally out of position. Cancel those 2 options first. Then 3 are very similar. Then inside the 3 that are similar, look for the one that is the most important one. Keep eliminating until you're left with one option. And then you'll be very, very amazed at how accurate you will be in making such decisions. And then also learn how to mark asterisks to unanswered questions on your question paper. If you have not been able to answer question 1, mark it asterisk or just an X, and move on. I'm looking at this question. This question too hard though. Mark X on it and move on. When you are coming back, you don't need to start straining your eyes to start looking for the question you have not answered. The XXX you see simply means that these are the questions I have not answered, and you can tackle them immediately. There are some questions you will see in Uniben. I promise you, you will rather fail than to attempt that question. I'm telling you, there are some questions you will see that they are just there to destabilize you. You will tell yourself, I rather fail than to attempt this question. I mean, what kind of wicked question is this? Now, mind you, before now, Uniben was very fond of actually making sure that her first 3 questions are very, very strong. And these first 3 questions are designed in such a way that they will pull you down. And if you are the kind of student that is the die-hard, we die here. I know they leave the question, we die here. You will really die there. You know why? Because some questions are designed to make sure that you don't even see the answer in the option after solving. And these are questions you should just let go. And you will try, you will not get it, you skip. You enter the next one, try, you don't get. You will start sweating. And before you know it, you will just lose confidence, you will lose balance. Not all questions have answers. Put that in your coconut, especially chemistry related questions. Okay? All right. Because of time, let me take the next one there, which is on the aspect of fleeing from exam malpractice. Oh yes, that is a tip. Flee from exam malpractice. Run from exam malpractice. Don't indulge yourself in any form of exam malpractice in Uniben, because the consequences of such actions can take you out of this university for 3 good years, and you will pay school fees for those 3 years when you are returning back. It is that bad. Avoid exam malpractice in any of its form if you want to really excel. And then the next one there is avoid going to exam with your bags. This is very common to 100 level students and also those in higher levels anyway. But why I say you should avoid going to the exam hall with your bags is because over the years, students keep complaining of stolen bags after exam. If you are taking your bag to the exam hall, a lot of students will go and mobile their bags alongside with others. Those that come to the exam hall without bags will finish before you, and they will go and pick up your bag and go home with it. And the essence of picking up your bag is to steal whatsoever that is inside. And in most cases, what do you have inside your bag during exam? Your phones, because you can't leave it at home. Your phones, your laptops, your Q pack. And before you know it, someone will just come pick it up and destabilize your mood all through the exam. So be very careful. If you must take your bag to the exam hall, keep it in a position where your eye will be 24/7 on it. Because statistics has shown that a lot of students, especially those in higher levels anyway, when they come to write carryover courses, some of them actually use the opportunity to steal. They will just look for a very fine bag and then target it, finish the exam before everybody, go and pick that bag as if it is theirs, and they will leave the exam hall. And if you're not careful, that is just your bag. And it will destabilize your mood and you won't be able to do anything productive during that exam period. Then the ninth tip is, sorry about that. The ninth tip is to never discuss your paper after exam. Never, I repeat, never discuss your paper after exam. If you must discuss your paper after exam, take note, you are only glorifying your paper after exam. If your mates come and they call you and they say, "Oh, Juliben, how was the exam today?" "We thank God, it was fine." "What about question 17? "We thank God, it was fine." "What about question 15? Don't you know that it's supposed to be?" "We thank God, it was fine." Just thank God and walk away. Because statistics has shown that students that discuss their exams immediately after exam, most of them go with health. Let me not use the word health because it's actually emotional trauma. With trauma, emotional problem, inability to focus for the next paper, because they will definitely make you feel that you have failed a lot of things. So never discuss your paper after exam. Just go home. There are some dull students that are very confident, my brother. They are so confident that their dullness will intimidate your wisdom. You will be surprised and shocked that after exam, somebody will tell you that 1 + 1 is 1. And he will prove it to you. And you that is a scholar that knows that 1 + 1 is 2, you will not even be able to argue with him. And you will find yourself feeling like you are out of the place. And before you know it, you feel like you have failed. And you have less time to concentrate for the next paper. So avoid discussing your paper after exam. Then lastly, pray before, pray during, and also pray after exam until you see your results. I repeat, pray before, pray during, pray after until you see your results. Because in this university, God's grace is what abounds. You are a scholar, no doubt. You'll be surprised after writing 14 courses, about 4 of them are missing. You may be a scholar after writing 15 courses, about 7 of them have carryovers, and you'll be wondering where the carryover is coming from. At times, these things are spiritually manipulated. You just have to be prayerful to make sure that your paper is in order. If you're in higher level, be prayerful. You have written theoretical exam, be prayerful, because the day the lecturer may be marking your script, the wife might have provoked him. Very angry and is very furious. And then all of a sudden he remembers he has scripts to mark before the next day. He now go and picks his exam script, and behold, your name is the first paper he has to mark. And God have mercy on you, your handwriting is like my own that looks like foul. He will just give you 1 mark. He say, "Yeah, get out of here. F, in fact, F, you are not passing this exam." You open the next page. "F, who are you? You fool." Meanwhile, it is not your fault. You know, that kind of thing. So when you go to higher levels, marking of script becomes based on emotion at times. And that is why there is need to pray. And there is also need to have good handwriting. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of what I have titled the OMR form and exam tip points. Go through this video. If you have not understood what I've said, share this video with your friends. Let them understand how to utilize the OMR form before exam. You may just be the person that will save them from that trauma of missing script. Share this video in your departmental group chat. You can share it in your faculty group chat if you can. Just anywhere. You are doing them good and not harm. Put it on your status. Let them watch it and let them understand the nitty-gritties of this university exam, so that together we can fight missing script, fight carryover cases, and fight absent cases as well. Thank you for watching. God bless you. My name is Dr. Juliben. Boom.